Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Mind Money Soul. And today I'm going to talk to you about the 5 main accounts that you need to successfully manage your money. Now, when it comes to accounts, there are so many different accounts that you can have, like it's crazy. And if you haven't been taught this stuff, how do you know what ones to have? You kind of just get told, grow up, get a current account, and that's kind of what you get taught. The thing is, you need different accounts for different things. I have probably about 10 different accounts in different places, but I'm going to walk you through the 5 top main, key, important ones that you need. So, yeah, because I really feel like the biggest challenge when it comes to your money is knowing where to put it. Like, where do I put my money? For it to grow, for it to be safe, for it to do what it's got to do. And I'm going to tell you. So, account number 1, you need a main current account or bills account is what I call it. So this is the main account that you have where your income goes into. So whether you have a 9-to-5 salary job and you're getting paid monthly, or you're a business owner and you're paying yourself, or you're self-employed and that's where your invoices get paid into, you want a main account. Now, if you are a business owner or self-employed person, you might actually want 2 main accounts, which is a business account and then a separate account. But I'm just talking about personal finance. So your business account is separate to this. So if you're a 9-to-5er or you're an employee, you don't need a business account. If you are a business owner, like a director of a limited company, then you would need a business account, current account, which is where your invoices are obviously getting paid into, and you would pay your salary, your dividends from that business account into this main account that I'm talking about. So your main bills account. If you were self-employed or you're freelance, a lot of the time people mix it together and they just have one main account that everything's coming in and out of, but it can be really useful to have a separate business account. So you need your one main current account, and this is essentially where your income comes into, and this is where your bills go out of. So it's kind of like the basic survival account, and you just need a standard current account. What I will say is you do not have to be loyal to one company. You don't have to be loyal to one bank. I have banked with the same bank for like literally 10 years. What benefits do I have? Like if you use a current account switch service and you go to a new bank, you can usually actually make up to like £100 to £200 just for switching. You usually get more benefits by being a new customer. Yes, it's a bit of a faff having to move around all your like bills and all of that, but honestly, we're getting nothing for loyalty, so why not move around? So that's account number 1 that you need. You need a main current account where your income is coming in and your bills are coming out. Now, when I say bills, I mean fixed expenses. I'm talking your mortgage, your rent, your electricity, your direct debits, your standing orders, your Netflix, your this, your that. Anything that you have agreed to pay for. You've signed a contract. But it comes out every day, every month, on the same day, around the same amount. That's your set of bills. Okay, now number 2, you then want a separate spending account. So this is the account that you use where all of your general monthly spending comes out. So this is the things such as your food shop, your travel, your socialising, your hobbies, clothes, makeup, all the other things, right? The reason why you can have a separate one is because we don't necessarily always know how much we spend on these things. Now, when you're creating a budget for the month and you're forecasting, you could say, I would like to cap my food shop at £200 a month. I would like to cap my travel at £100 a month. I would like to only spend £100 on, clothes this month. And you can set yourself parameters, but it's your responsibility to make sure that you spend within that amount or under it. It's not like a direct debit and just, foodshop.co.uk takes £200 and then food suddenly arrives at your door. Like, you go into a shop, you pick what shop you're going to, you're picking the food that you have. So you pick when you go. You're the one who's in charge, who's in control of that. So by having it in a separate account, the great thing is that it keeps this money separate from your bills money. So the money that you've already committed to pay that's coming out on a certain date. So this is basically so that you don't accidentally spend your rent money on tequila right? Or you don't accidentally spend your mortgage money on a new handbag. Like, you can keep them separate. Now, I would definitely look for these at like challenger, like FinTech banks. So your Monzo, your Starling, your Revolut, those ones, because they are great. They have an app that you can have on your phone. You can set yourself little budgets. They're very visual, so you can like see little graphs to see how you're doing and how your spending's going. You can have little pots for different things. So you might be the kind of person who wants to put different things in different pots, so you don't even accidentally spend that lot of money. They're great. They're really great, and they're a great way of helping you track specifically where your money is going. And this is going to give you a better oversight of your spending habits and behaviours, and it's going to help you, stay on track. And that's actually the second but most important part of budgeting, is staying on track. Okay, number 3 is you want a high interest savings account. So savings rates for savings accounts change literally all the time, because the Bank of England rate is changing literally all the time. And that means sometimes you could get a really high savings rate, sometimes it's a lot lower. But it's always good to shop around and see who has the highest interest that you can benefit from. Now, there's this guy, American guy called Ramit Sethi, who always says, don't ask the $3 questions, ask the $30,000 questions. So let's just say you've got £1,000 in your savings account, and which would be more than most of the UK, and you wanted to, you had a savings account that had like 3%. And then suddenly you see somewhere else that has 4%. You have to basically ask yourself, is it worth me spending the time moving that £1,000 from the 3% account to the 4% account, because I'm making an extra basically tenner? Is it worth my time, that £10, because it's only 1% of £1,000, right? Is important. But if you've got larger sums of money, then yeah, it's really important to, be in a high interest savings account. But knowing that it goes up and down, you can pick one that's really good at the time, knowing that it might fluctuate slightly. Now, if you leave your money sat in your current account or in your main bank account where your bills come out of, you aren't making any interest. And you are losing the buying power of your money due to inflation, where the cost of goods and services are going up every month. So it is important for you to have your emergency fund and like your short-term savings goals money in a high interest savings account. But when it comes to like saving for the future, 10, 15, 20 years time, that's where you want a different account. So this savings account, and you can have multiple, is for short-term savings goals, basically, where you're going to need access to cash, but you don't want that money just sat in a current account mixing up with all your bills and your income money and not gaining any kind of interest at all. So this is like that middle ground. Okay, now number 4 is having a stocks and shares ISA for growing your money for the future and beating inflation. Now, did you know that only 6% of adults have a stocks and shares ISA? So that was a stat that I found about 2024, this year. 6%. That is so low. Honestly, when I saw this stat, I was like, I think I screamed. I was like, what is that? Now, a stocks and shares ISA is essentially like a cash ISA. So it eats into your ISA allowance. ISA stands for individual savings account. I thought I got it wrong then. Individual, I'm going to double check that is. Hang on, bear with me. ISA stands for, oh God, I thought I got that wrong. ISA stands for individual savings account, okay? But a cash ISA, you open, you put your money into that cash ISA, it sits there, you make a little bit of interest on it. But a stocks and shares ISA, you make interest not from the company that you have the account with, but by investing and trading that money on the stock market. So a stocks and shares ISA is an account that you can use to trade money on the stock market. So you convert that money from cash into an asset, so by spending it on a stock or a fund or whatever it is, and then that obviously gains, ideally, makes a profit by growing in size, like the share price going up, so therefore the value of your share has gone up, your asset has increased in value, and then when you sell it, you convert it back into cash, and then you can withdraw that from the stocks and shares ISA. So that the ISA is essentially the financial instrument that you use to trade on the stock market to grow your money for the long-term future. Now, there are risks involved with investing. Your money is at risk, and that's why it's so important to do your due diligence. I can never say that word. Do your due diligence. But having an account specifically where you can build wealth is really important. Now, Number 5 is a pension. A pension is an account that you would use to essentially, or it's a scheme that you would use to grow your money for retirement. It's essentially a tax efficient, long-term savings account where you set money aside for your retirement. Now, I have a whole 4-part podcast episode series on the podcast, but there are basically different types of pensions. Okay, so the most common one is a workplace pension. This is where you add into it, your employer contributes, and then you also get tax relief from the government. Now, you may also have a personal or a private pension that you've set up for yourself, such as a lifetime ISA, also known as a LISA, or a self-invested personal pension, also known as a SIP. Now, the confusing part is that a pension, a workplace pension or a SIP is not technically a savings account. It's actually technically an investing account, because the money that you have in your pension is being invested on the stock market for the future. It's not just sat there in cash gaining interest. So if you have a workplace pension, your pension provider is investing that money for you. But if you have a SIP or a personal pension, you're the one investing this money for yourself. You're acting as the pension company. But if you have a lifetime ISA, it's essentially an account that you can deposit up to £4,000. The government will add and give you a free bonus of up to 25% of that money, up to a cap of £4,000 per tax year. So if you put £4,000 in, you'd get £1,000 bonus. And this money can only be used towards your first home or towards retirement. So this is why people are using these accounts as like top ups to their pensions, because it's like you're getting basically 25% extra free money. What a win. Now, you can have as many or as like few different like pension accounts as you want, but it's really important to understand the benefits and the limitations of each type of account and also your pension plan, so that you choose one that aligns with your goals. Because if you want to retire at 50, having a pension or a LISA where you can't take that money out until pension age is not going to be for you. Whereas a stocks and shares ISA is technically easy access, because you always have access to that money once you sell and buy it on the stock market. But like I say, I've got a whole 4-parter on this episode, so go and check that out. But yeah, these are the 5 main types of accounts that you need. You can have multiple stocks and shares ISAs, multiple savings accounts. The rules have actually changed around ISAs recently, because you used to only be able to have one type of each ISA open per tax year, but that has changed. But then really asking yourself, like, why do I need more than one stocks and shares ISA? Is that there's different platforms, there's different places that I want to invest. But this is why it's so important to get clear on your like retirement and your long-term goals. So yeah, these are the 5 most important type of accounts that you need to have. Now, when you get paid or you pay yourself, that money would go into your main account. You would then either manually or automated split your money out to leave enough money in your bills account to pay your bills. You would then move money from your main account into your high interest savings account, into your stocks and shares ISA or your investing account, and obviously into your pension, depending on what point that happens, depending on your employment status. So you're paying your future self first, you're putting money towards your success, and then you're also moving money into your spending account. So after payday and you've done all of that, you then go throughout your month only spending on your spending card, because the money in your main account is taking your bills, you've paid into your savings and your investments, and then you have your spending card. And that's a great way, and how having multiple accounts is going to set you up for financial success. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you haven't, you can download a copy of my free monthly spending planner template. That's a mouthful. The link will be in the show notes, and that will help you break down all of these different accounts. But thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll speak to you next week.